Hammurabi, the king who turned Babylon into a vast empire. Today, most Western countries have their constitutional basis in Canaan law, but the law is not governed by religious matters. To think of such a thing in the ancient era would be almost impossible, for justice was entrusted entirely to the divine. King Hammurabi developed a set of laws that slightly separated the divine from the judicial. How could one man turn a minor kingdom into an immense empire in just 42 years of reign? Join us to find out. Babylon before Hammurabi. To understand the importance of Hammurabi in the history of Babylon, it is necessary to situate ourselves in the year 2002 BC, time after the powerful third dynasty of Ur was overthrown. The fall of this empire meant a time of renewal for the Mesopotamian region, which was under the control of the Sumerians for several years. This framework was propitious for a warlike and ambitious civilization to appear. This opportunity was seized by a people that met these conditions, the Amorites. These Semitic people from the desert took advantage of the circumstances and occupied several Mesopotamian cities without encountering opposition. There they founded several cities, and among them Babylon. In the government of Amorite dynasties, Babylon was only a small kingdom, but that would change radically in the year 1792 BC. Ascent to the throne. Hammurabi succeeded his father Sin-muballit to the throne. The young king was only 18 years old when he replaced his father, but that did not prevent him from changing the course of history. The geopolitical situation was not the most favourable for Hammurabi, as Upper Mesopotamia was controlled by the Assyrians, who were eager to constantly expand. The most powerful monarch in the region was Shamash, who controlled the north, followed by Rim-Sin, who controlled the south. All these countries struggled to defend their territory and control the trade routes, a circumstance that Hammurabi took great advantage of. First political movements. Cunning and coolness in decision-making was characteristic for the young king, as he was patient in knowing how and when to make pacts with other forces to increase his political and military power. This strategy helped him to overcome the difficult obstacles he faced in his first years of rule, since the political situation was asphyxiating for a minor kingdom like Babylon. In this way, the young king managed to ally himself with two aforementioned monarchs, which allowed him to consolidate his power. His first years were extremely peaceful, as he did not want the Assyrians to distrust him and subjugate him again, since the alliance allowed him to build his nascent kingdom brick by brick. Final conquests. As a result of these alliances, between the 7th and 11th year of his reign, Hammurabi slightly extended his territory when he was victorious in his first campaigns. After this, he remained in a peaceful posture for 19 years, a time that he used to embellish his kingdom and continue to strengthen his ties with the powerful monarchs. All this changed radically after the death of Shamash in 1781 BC. The successor of the powerful monarch was not able to maintain the dominance that the Assyrians had achieved, and the figure of Zimri-Lin made his appearance. Zimri-Lin was the legitimate heir of Mari, a city that Shamash had claimed under his dominion. Zimri-Lin had no choice but to flee to Aleppo, but upon learning of the Assyrian king's death, he led a campaign to reconquer the city. This brought a remarkable balance in the region, as the great monarchs had similar political and military power. But this would not last long, as the king of Vishnuna allied with the kingdom of Elam to obtain the longed-for supremacy of the Near East. This alliance posed a great threat to the other three monarchs of the region. By this time, Hammurabi had already consolidated his power and made a place for himself among the great monarchs of the region, so he had no choice but to lead an alliance in order not to be subdued. Thus was born the alliance with the only two monarchs who could present battle to the enemy alliance. Zimri-Lin, king of Mari, allied with Yarim-Lin, king of Aleppo. Both kingdoms joined Hammurabi to defend themselves against Elam. In 1763 BC, Hammurabi commanded the attack against the Elamites and was victorious. This marked a before and after in his reign, as the alliance with the kings of Aleppo and Mari brought him great benefits. Hammurabi took advantage of the enormous opportunity to advance on Lower Mesopotamia, since the fall of the Elamites represented a gateway to the south of the region. Thus, the powerful king advanced on the monarch he had allied himself with at the beginning of his reign, Rim-Sin. Hammurabi overthrew Rim-Sin and conquered his Larsa, Some historians claim that this was not an act of revenge or to show his growth to the one who had subjugated him some years ago, but that Rim-Sin had promised to help Babylon in the war against the Elamites, but his participation was nil, which Hammurabi considered a great offence. Breaking the alliance with Mari. After this victory, Hammurabi positioned himself as the most powerful king of the region, since he controlled the south of the region, where he obtained great benefits from the agricultural wealth. He also controlled the north, where he dominated the vast commercial network that reached the Mediterranean and Asia Minor. And in the east of the region, the Babylonian king dominated the regions of the Diyala River basin. And thanks to this dominion, the king was constantly growing his empire, as all kinds of stones, metals and precious woods were constantly arriving in his kingdom thanks to the trade routes. This sovereignty caused distrust in Zimri-Lin, the king of Mari and ally of Babylon, in the fight against the Elamites. The bond deteriorated to the point that the two kings clashed in 1760 BC, giving Hammurabi as the winner of the contest. The city of Mari was burned and subsequently destroyed in its entirety. King Zimri-Lin was missing in action, and he was never found after that, so there is no record of a reconciliation between him and Hammurabi. Hammurabi's Code. In just a few years, the king unified the entire Mesopotamian region under his rule and created one of the strongest empires in the world. After this, he devoted himself to ruling Babylon with sovereignty and beautifying it, creating statues, monuments, temples and canals. It is during this period that the Hammurabi Code, which is inscribed on a diorite stone still, is believed to have been created. The code contains 282 laws written in Akkadian, the official language of the Babylonian Empire. The code has a specific structure and is known to be one of the first to dictate the principle of innocence, suggesting that both the accuser and the accused can provide evidence to make their case. The sentences presented in the code are understandably extreme, as most of the punishments involve the death penalty, disfigurements, or the law of retaliation, also known as the philosophy of an eye for an eye. In this code, it is detailed that it was the gods themselves who gave the wisdom to Hammurabi to create the laws and judicial order of the nation. Final years. Being the lord of the whole region, Hammurabi dedicated the last year of his life to beautify his kingdom and make it prosper. There are records of 55 letters of his in which he detailed his political movements with precision. The end of his life is believed to have come in 1750 BC. Despite being known for the Hammurabi Code, the Babylonian king was much more than a legal visionary, for he proved to be a great political and military strategist. His legacy extended for generations in the Middle East, although his sons did not maintain the same power as he did. Don't close the video yet! Before you go, please subscribe and leave us a like, if you like the content. It will help us grow and continue making much more content. Now, without further ado, we say goodbye.